Hello everyone and welcome back to Media Arts. Hopefully you had a chance to see my lesson last week on Thursday or Friday. I know things were off to a little bit of an unorthodox start with no school on Monday and kind of pushing everything back a little bit. But by now, hopefully you've seen that first video, learned a little bit about me, learned a little bit about this class, and had a chance to complete the survey that was your only assignment for last week. But today, I promise we're gonna get right into doing some creating because this is an arts class. So let's just jump right into it. And so as always, what I like to do is start off by going over my slides. By the way, I'm using an application called Loom. You can access it at loom.com, and it actually even has a Google Chrome extension so you can use it yourself on your Chromebook. So we're gonna use this to get into video a little bit later, but I just wanted to let you know about what technology I'm using to make this possible. Let's go over this week's plan, shall we? So the goals for this week, it is the week of September 21st, so hopefully you're seeing this video on Monday or Tuesday so that you have all week in order to work on this. So you are going to start working on the All About Me Google Drawing. In fact, I'm gonna really suggest that you finish this. Now, if you took my class last year, you've already made an All About Me drawing, so I want you to go through the process again, now applying what you've learned as you understand some elements of graphic design. If you're brand new to the class, it's okay. Just do the best you can with this. We're not going to be using Google Drawings too much this year, but I wanted to start with something where everyone was going to be able to access. Most of the designs that we create will be using Photopea, and so we'll get into that a little bit later, but for our very first design, we're just gonna do that by way of Google Drawings. And please make sure that survey is completed. I am gonna be going through it and tracking people down that have not had a chance to complete it, so try and look on your end first. That would make things so much easier so that we can really have everything we need in order to get started in this class. Just a quick review about supplies for this class. The only thing that you will need is a Chromebook or a computer. So if you have that tool, you're going to be able to get by making most of the things. Now, it's probably going to be helpful if you have a digital camera. Since this is a video and photography class, recording video with a rear-facing camera on a laptop is not very convenient. It is possible and it's doable, but it's not very convenient. I do have some equipment that I might be able to loan out, but no specifics on how that's been able to pan out or have been figured out yet. So for now, let's just try and think of how can we access the tools that we have. Maybe you have a smartphone. Maybe your parents have an old smartphone they don't use. Maybe you can borrow a smartphone from your parents or use a tablet or really any digital camera that can take pictures or take pictures and record video, even a bonus. You can still get by just by using your Chromebook and using a screen recorder, but the problem is you can't see what you're recording at the same time for a lot of the footage, so it will be helpful but not required to have an additional digital camera. Okay, so we went over this last week, but just to remind everyone, this is Intro to Video Production, but we're learning photography and we're learning video. Right, just this morning I was figuring out what am I going to be teaching across the entire semester, and generally we'll do 1 or 2 weeks of photography and then followed by 1 or 2 weeks of video, and by the end of the year you'll really be choosing which ones you want to focus on the most, but we will have both styles of assignments of photography and video for this class for video production. And like it says right here, you will all be expected to be active members of the digital publishing team or of the Heron television team. So you're gonna get to decide which one fits your interest a little bit better. Make sure you put that suggestion on the survey. It's not set in stone, but we are gonna have some additional meetings where we talk about planning things out. I really wanna have students take control of Heron TV as soon as possible, as well as start planning out our yearbook or any of our digital publishing. So we're gonna jump right into our first assignment, which is how to make a Google Drawing. And so in Google Drawing, I have a video where I'm sitting right here in this chair wearing a lovely red sweatshirt though, so I'm gonna have a quick costume change and then get into explaining how that all works. So have fun with your Google Drawing. Good luck. I can't wait to see it. It's in Google Classroom, and I'll let my tutorial take it away. All right, so when you open up your All About Me Google Drawing in Google Classroom, it's going to look something like this, although it'll have your name already on there at the end of It's All About Me. So what you're going to do is you're going to see we've got some directions here. You're going to add images that represent you to this drawing, and also you can change the word name to your name, and you can edit the text by clicking on it, changing the font color, changing the size. You can add text boxes, shapes, etc. Experiment and have fun. And once you understand the project, you can delete these instructions. You can actually even just drag them off to the side. And the reason why that is because a Google Drawing, anything that has these checkers here, it's going to be the canvas that you end up seeing for your drawing. So the only things that are going to be on here where it says all about your name. So I'm going to click on that, and then I can move it around wherever I want. And you are going to change this by double clicking on it. Now the reason why that is because this is word art, okay? And I'll show you a little bit about word art here. You're going to add in your name. So I'm going to add in Mr. Oliver. Just go ahead and put your first name. That's fine. And then now you have some text that's here. And you may have added text to a presentation or to a Word document before, but for this is word art, and I'm going to show you a few things about that. So when it's selected, you can go ahead and change your font, just like anything, and you can pick a font that you think works nicely. Find a fun font that works for you. So I'm going to try Architect's Daughter. I like that font. I think that works nicely. Now, I'm going to show you some tools that we have here, and instead of just having it solid color, just like it's regular text, you can go ahead and change the fill color to any color that you like. I'm even going to choose a gradient, maybe do a gradient green, and then I can also change my border color if I wanted to whatever color I wanted. I think that looks kind of strange like that, so I'm going to leave it black for right now, but I'm going to adjust my thickness to something that I think looks nice. So by hitting on those little buttons where it says border weight, I could choose something incredibly thick, which is obviously way too much, or I could choose something a little thinner that's going to look nice. And now I have all about Mr. Oliver as a name, and I can move it around anywhere I want here. Now, you can make it larger by taking the corners, and if you hold down Shift when you drag them, they'll stay in the same dimensions as you make it larger. Let me show you what happens if you don't drag the corner, or if you don't hold Shift down. So if I was to change the dimensions, now that font's going to look completely different. So I'm going to undo my mistake by hitting Command and Z, just like that. It's back to how it was before. As I want to resize it, one option is for holding down Shift and doing that. Okay, some other things that I can do is where it says Format Options here in my toolbar. If I go ahead and click that, I can actually choose size, and then just from size, I can increase the height, or I could increase the width. Now that's going to make it also get distorted, so I'm going to hit Command Z to get it back to how it was, and now I'm going to lock my aspect ratio, and as I make it bigger, it'll work that way. So that's one option you can do in size under Format for size and rotation. I could also rotate it as I wanted to. Now, that's all I need for that, because now I want to look at drop shadow. So drop shadow, as you can see, adds a shadow there. You can adjust just the amount of transparency. And so you probably want it fairly thin if you were going to use this. You can adjust the angle, so wherever you think your light source looks like it's coming from. I like it to be really close. And then just adjust your distance so that it looks just like it's got a little bit of shadow and it adds some character to it. So that's what I'm going to do with that. Blur radius, the more you adjust, the less you see it. I'm just going to leave it about there. I think looks pretty good, maybe even a little bit less. So it just looks like it has some depth. So that's how you add your name to your drawing. Now what we're also going to do is we're going to add images. There are a variety of ways to add images, and one thing you're going to learn in Media Arts is how to add your own images from your own camera or to find images on the internet. When we're using a Google Drawing, the easiest thing to do and the most ethical thing to do is to use images you have the rights to use. And Google Drawing and all Google applications make it really simple by hitting the Insert Image button. So what you're going to do is you're going to search the web. Now, when you click Search the Web, every image that you can see is already been licensed for you to use, which is great, so you don't have to go and get permission to use anything. You can't just take any picture from the internet and use it on your drawing. So we're going to search for some images. Now the first thing I want to do is a background. So let's say that you like spending time at the beach. You could just go ahead and search for beach, and there's going to be lots of pictures of beaches, and I'll just find one that I think looks nice. and I'll click on it, and I can then just hit insert, or I can drag it in. I'm just going to go ahead, click on it, and hit insert to show you what happens now. So it says creating images, and then my picture appears. I can make this picture larger. I can hold down shift just like I was showing before, and I'm going to make it the full size of the screen, and you'll notice that I have lost access to everything else in my drawing. Let me just make this a little bit bigger. So you're probably thinking, oh no, we lost it all, but I'm going to get it back. Don't you worry. What we're going to do is we're going to arrange this object so that it goes all the way to the back. So if I hit arrange order and send to the back, it's all the way back. And you'll also notice that it is larger than my checkered square. So it's actually automatically going to cut it off, but I'll show you by lining it up. This little red line that appears on the side of the image, I can line that up with my ruler. And then this is now going to be pretty much what I end up seeing on my slide. All right, so now that I've got a background of a beach, I'm going to go back to my word art by clicking on it. And I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, and I'm going to move it to a spot where you can see it better. So a little more contrast by putting it down on the beach. So there, I now have that. Okay. We're also going to add some images of things that we like to do. So I could add some pictures along here. One thing I love doing is taking pictures. So not only do I teach a photography class and a media arts class, but I also spend a lot of my free time taking pictures. So I'm going to search again for an image, and this time I'm just going to search for a camera. And so now what I'll do is, oops, I hit the wrong button. Let's go back here. So close that out. I'm going to hit insert image and search the web. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in camera. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 3 letters that say PNG. That's going to be a transparent image that when I add is going to hopefully look pretty good on here. So let's find a picture of a camera that I want to use. I'll take this one. That looks great. So once again, I click on it and I can hit insert, or I can even just drag it. I'll drag it this time so you can see what that does. And now I have this camera here that I can then make smaller, and I can put wherever I want on the frame. So I can do all sorts of things. All right, so now I've got a camera, and I could repeat this process finding lots of things. I'm not going to show you everything because it's going to take a while to work on, but I think this should give you a good idea. Now, one last thing that I want to show you before we download this image is how to make this look like it has a picture frame on it. So what we're going to do is go ahead to our toolbar, and we're going to draw a shape, and we're just going to choose a rectangle. So I'm just going to draw a rectangle the size. That didn't work. Let me try that again. I'm going to draw another rectangle, and I'm going to draw it the size of my entire thing. Okay, so now let me take it all the way to the edges, and I'm actually going to need to shrink down my picture now that I'm doing this, but you'll get the idea. Okay, so here is my shape. Once again, it's hiding everything, so I'm going to have to put it in the back. I don't want it to look like that. I'd rather it was just white. And so now I'm going to move it to the back. So I'm going to hit Command, Shift, and down. I could also hit Arrange to do that same thing. So see how I arrange order and send to the back. It just shows the shortcuts for that. So now I'm going to go back to my picture, and this time I'm going to make it look smaller so that it's inside of my frame. Now it looks like that. I can go here to my shape. I can change my border size, and now I'm getting a line around it, and it looks kind of neat. And then I'm obviously going to have to play with it to make the text look right. But this should probably give you a couple of ideas for how you can arrange objects to make them look great in a Google Drawing. All right, so I'm going to add a few more things to this, but I'm not going to show you all those. But I am going to show you the step where we're going to download this to our computer. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit File and Download as a JPEG this time, and it'll go down to your Downloads bar. Now, if you're using a Chromebook, you can also save this to your device. Depending on what kind of memory you have set up on there, it's going to be a little bit different for everyone. I think you can also save it directly to your Google Drive. But either way, you're going to try and get this JPEG to be a file that's saved locally to you and no longer just inside the application. So there you have it. That's a Google drawing. Hopefully this went well for you. It was probably a review. I'm really looking forward to seeing some of the creative things that you've come up with. We are going to use this Google drawing for things in the future. So you will be downloading it as a JPEG. You're going to be adding it to a slide. You're going to record video that goes along with it. So really this is just a jumping off point for us to learn a little bit about each other and for you to learn how to use some of the technology that we'll be using as part of the Intro to Video class. So all week long, I'm going to have office hours. So if any of this was confusing, please stop by my class for those office hours. They are posted in Google Classroom and they're also posted on my website. So stop by with any questions or concerns to figure out how you can do that. I will also be having a meeting for people that are interested in creating Heron TV sometime this week. So also check Google Classroom for updates about that. So that's it. It was great working with you this week. Have an awesome week, and I can't wait to see what you come up with. So, as always, never stop creating, and I'll see you in the next video.